Hey folks, it's a little after 5 p.m. We apologize for the inconvenience. We're having some technical difficulties with our video system. Please stand by.
All right, quiet on the set.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're live.
Let's start the party.
Broadcasting around the world.
OurBroadcastLink.com.
This is your number one internet station. The music you love right here, right now.
OurBroadcastLink.com.
It's another live broadcast. Special edition. Now your hosts, Rob and Jerry.
Hey, well, once again, folks, welcome to another Sunday afternoon Polkas After Dark. As we always say, this is where the crazy people meet on the weekends to have fun. And if you're crazy just like us, well, then you've come to the right place. Good afternoon, good evening. As we always say, it's all good because you guys are here with us and we're here with you. On Polkas After Dark, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties once again with some video, but let's go ahead and get some things started off here with Joe Macielag.
Ty ze mnie szydzisz, Dorotka, ty ze mnie szydzisz. Ty mnie tylko wtedy kochasz, kiedy mnie widzisz.
Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz, Dorotka. Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz.
Z ciebie nie szydzę, chłopaku, z ciebie nie szydzę, bo cię zawsze szczerze kocham, choć cię nie widzę.
Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz, Dorotka. Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz.
Sprzedam ciele na jarmarku za 4 bite i wyprawię weselisko sute obfite.
Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz, Dorotka. Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz.
A to wszystko dla cię, luba, dla cię jedyna, boś ty tylko w świecie jedna moja dziewczyna.
Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz, Dorotka. Hop, hop, da, 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 kiedy mnie widzisz.
Wow, what a sound on a Sunday afternoon. Boy, if that doesn't get your toes a tapping, nothing does. Wow, right out of the chute. Boy, I love that sound. Hey, It's Rob and Jerry here on Polkas After Dark, our broadcast link.
With a C.
.com, also on
Facebook and YouTube.
And yes, sirree. Hey, let's go right along with some more polka music. Here's Ed Gutsa and the Polish Canadians, a little bit of Under the Oak Tree.
Na wysokim dębie biały gołąb siedział. Dajże buzi w praniu, nikt nie będzie wiedział. Dajże buzi w praniu, nikt nie będzie wiedział. W stodole na dole, na samym klepisku. Chciałem pocałować, dostałem po pysku. Chciałem pocałować, dostałem po pysku. Czasy, minęła ta chwila, co każda panienka jednego lubiła, co każda panienka jednego lubiła. Ożenił się stary, z młodo chciał uciechy, a ona do niego jak do stary szczechy, a ona do niego jak do stary szczechy.
Hey, Ed Gutsa and the Polish Canadians playing a favorite tune of yours and ours. It's one called the Under the Oak Tree, Na Wysokim Dębie. Let's get another song up here by a gentleman that's going to be joining us real soon. We're going to be giving him a call in about another 15, 20 minutes or so. And that is Mr. Joe Macielag. And I can't wait to chat with him. But here's another song by Joe, one called the Party Doll. Hey, that's Joe Macielag and his Melody Bells Orchestra. If you're just joining us, well, welcome to Polkas After Dark on our broadcast link with the C.com. Caught you just before you said it. I know. Hey, we're going to say hello to a few people in our chat room. It's starting to fill up here. We're going to say hi to Diane Simseremit. She's down there in the Pennsylvania area. Also looks like Teresa Went from Ohio. We're going to say hello to her. Also my brother Tom Hoke down in Uniontown, Pennsylvania with the gang tuned in. And Jerry, how about, let's see here, Vince Cisnowski. Vince is here along with Jan Dressler. We're going to say hello to Jan. We've got a bunch of our Canadian family here, which is great. Thank you so much for tuning us in here. We've got Ed and Wanda Gutza and also Les and Alice Kapuscinski. But Jerry, why don't you go ahead and make mention who you've got in our broadcast link and a couple of the folks in, it looks like, the YouTube.
I have Alice Fischler, Chris Curtis, Chris Tansky, and Marcia Moscato over on our broadcast link. We have Mark Schwalker joining us over on Facebook. And then we've got 10 groups of people watching us.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to say groups because I don't know how many watch on YouTube at a time.
Yeah.
Because you can really just put it on the TV and the whole gang could watch.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, too, because a lot of people do decide to do that and put us on their big screen TVs, especially now that we are broadcasting on YouTube. Hey, let's bring up a song by the Versatones. Eddie B, here's one called When I Hear the Music.
Jak muzykanci grają, to każdy se wywija. Jak muzykanci grają, to każdy se wywija. Raz, dwa. A pod mostem lilia. Jak muzykanci grają, to każdy se wybija. Jak muzykanci grają, to każdy se wybija. I obym ty zatańczył, ale jestem kulawy. Siedzę smutny, nie mogę podnieść się tu z tej ławy. Siedzę smutny, nie mogę podnieść się tu z tej ławy. Jest tu Bartek Woźnica, ogniście se tańcuje. Przytupuje, spocił się i koszulę zdejmuje. Przytupuje, spocił się i koszulę zdejmuje. Franek jak się opije, śpiewa Wojdana Dana. Muzycy nie przestają, grają sobie do rana. Muzycy nie przestają, grają sobie do rana. Na lewo, kumoter z kumowską, do tańca, wybijajcie się, he.
That's the sound of Eddie Blazonczyk and all the versatile Versatones right here on a Polkas After Dark, the Sunday afternoon edition. This is where we get a chance to interview some of our favorite fellow musicians and band leaders throughout the United States and Canada. And once again, we want to welcome all of our chatters in the chat room. Hey, before we go any further, Jerry, we mentioned Steve Gramala is going to be heading out to Cleveland, Ohio next week for a really nice dance featuring the Newtones, and we've got a song by the Newtones coming up. But why don't you let everybody know what's happening out in the Parma, Ohio area?
There is a joint dance with the CPA and USPA on Saturday, February 26th, 2022, Two Hearts, One Love, polka music. As Robin said, music will be provided by the New Tones from Pennsylvania at the Holy Spirit Party Center, 5500 West 54th Street, Parma, Ohio, 44129. It's between Snow and Brooks Park Road. Brook Park.
Singular.
I was correcting it.
Singular.
Brook Park.
Singular.
Brook Park. Okay.
That's my old
No
stomping
S.
grounds. From a long time ago.
Doors open at 5 p.m. Music is 6 to 10 p.m. Donations are $13. 18 and under are free. No BYOB. Food and beverages available. Snacks are welcome. Of course, all CDC and health department guidelines will be followed. And hopefully there will be none that you will have to deal with.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Absolutely.
That would be really
and also
nice.
just a quick mention that POTS is having their Fat Tuesday, Punchki Day, on March 1st from 6 to 9, and the band 7 will be there to entertain.
Yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, you know what else is going to be a lot of fun, folks? We're going to be talking with Mr. Joe Macielag very, very soon. And everybody remembers Joe from the Pick a Polka days way back in the 1960s, but we're going to find out what he's been doing over the last several years. We do know that in 2018, he was inducted into the Polka Music Hall of Fame, the IPA Hall of Fame, in the Pioneer category, as a matter of fact. Hey, we're going to say hello to some more people that are just joining us. It looks like Bobby Rozutek is here. Hello, Bobby. Long time no speak to and long time no see. Looks like Mary Lou Cerniak is here as well. Dan is so excited. Jill is coming home in 1 hour to camp out for a couple of days, so that'll be nice.
Sounds like fun.
We also had a request that unfortunately I didn't get a chance to see it until after the broadcast, so I apologize, Mary Lou, but we're going to get a Pia Cuba up in just a little bit. But right now, here's a song by the New Tones as promised. Here's a song called I Don't Want Him to Spoil the Party.
I don't wanna spoil the party, so I'll go. I would hate my disappointment to show. There's nothing for me here, so I will disappear. If he turns out well, I'm gone, please let me know. I had a drink or two and I don't care. There's no fun
Nice little fade out on that song. Hey, that is Stacey Morris and the New Tones. And once again, you guys can catch them Saturday evening out there at the CPA USPA Joint Dance. That's going to be a lot of fun out there in Parma, Ohio, and we'll be telling you a little bit more about that later on this afternoon. Hey, we're going to be talking with this guy in just a few moments, but here is a nice waltz by Joe Macielag and his Melody Bells Orchestra.
Szukałem dla Ciebie, żebyś była moją na zawsze. Ja jestem ubogi, nic nie mam. Tyś moja luba, ja Cię kocham. Ja jestem ubogi, nic nie mam. Tyś moja luba, ja Cię kocham. Za morzem mam nawet dwóch braci i siostrę. Dlaczego ja Ciebie poznałem? Przez całe życie Cię kochałem. Dlaczego ja Ciebie poznałem? Przez całe życie Cię kochałem. Tyś mój syneczek, dałaś mi cały Twój majątek. Ja też pracowałem dla Ciebie. Czemu, ach czemu zostawiasz mnie? Ja też pracowałem dla Ciebie. Czemu, ach czemu zostawiasz mnie?
Beautiful waltz right there.
It was beautiful.
Yes, sirree. Hey, that's Joe Macielag, and we're going to be calling Joe in just a couple of seconds here. But while we do, we want to send a song out not only to the Ceremits out there in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, but we also want to say hello to Jill Cerniak, and hopefully she's tuning us in on her way in. She's going to be hitting home pretty soon in Minnesota. Here's a tune requested yesterday, and once again, I apologize for not being able to get to it, but here is one called Pia Cuba. Here's the sounds. I stand corrected. You know what? I hit the wrong button, which happens once in a while. How about we do this? Here's Jimmy Weber and the sounds.
Pije Kuba do Jakuba, Jakub do Michała. Wiwet wi, kompania cała. A kto nie wypije, tego we dwa kije. Łupu, supu, łupu, nie po polsku żyje. A kto nie wypije, tego we dwa kije. Łupu, supu, łupu, nie po polsku żyje. Hej, hej! Jakuba, Jakub do Michała. Wiwet wi, kompania cała. A kto nie wypije, tego we dwa kije. Pupu, supu, łupu, nie nie po polsku żyje. A kto nie wypije, tego we dwa kije. Łupu, supu, supu, łupu, nie po polsku żyje. Do Jakuba, Jakub do Michała. Piją ja, pijesz ty, kompania cała. A kto nie wypije, tego we dwa kije. Łupu, supu, supu, łupu, nie po polsku żyje. A kto nie wypije, tego we dwa kije. Łupu, supu, supu, łupu, tego we dwa kije. Hej, na lewo, na prawo, do tańca.
Hey, yeah, blast from the past, Jimmy Weber and the Sounds from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. That's one called Pia Cuba. And we are excited, folks, because we right now have with us live on the broadcast here at Polkas After Dark, a polka icon, as a matter of fact. This gentleman started playing at a young age, and we are going to be live with him in about 2 seconds here. Joe, can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Joe, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and getting a chance to chat with us today. You know, I was mentioning while we were off the air that I got a chance to chat with Dale Voidilla from the old Big Steve Band, and now he's currently playing trumpet with the Concertina All-Stars. But Dale and I played together for years with the Big Steve Band. And that is actually how I met you. Your trumpet player, Dick Sadowski, introduced me to you back at the Portage Post in Niagara Falls, New York, back in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I met you. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions, Joe. And again, thank you so much for participating into this. But I do want to ask you, how old were you when you heard your first polka, Joe?
When I heard my first polka?
Yes, sir.
When I heard it?
Yeah. How old were you when you first heard your first polka song?
With the family I had, I'm sure I was a few months old.
Oh, okay. And how old were you when you first picked up your first instrument? And I take it clarinet was your first instrument. Am I correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And that's exactly right. I picked it up when I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And I learned it. I learned it from a teacher at the high school down the road from you.
Oh, is that right?
St. Francis High School. St. Francis High School. That's where I went for 4 years, and that's where I picked up the clarinet, and that's where I learned how to play the clarinet.
Is that right? Unbelievable. Yep. Yeah, we're down here in Derby, and you're talking down there around the Hamburg area.
Yeah, Apple Springs.
Yeah. Well, oddly enough, we talked to another gentleman a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Mitch Biskup, which we never realized that he also attended that school way back when.
Yeah, and Ray Barsakevich attended that school, who plays with Touch.
The Buffalo Touch, yes.
Yeah, he went to St. Francis also.
Now, Joe, you, of course, were inducted into the Polka Music Hall of Fame back in 2018, I believe. And
yes.
I want to thank Mr. Mark Cohan, which you are very familiar with as well. Want to thank him for giving us a couple of cheater notes here, because I do want to find out a little bit more about your musical career. You have entertained with a lot of folks, and a lot of folks have entertained with you. Some big band names like Frank Wojnarowski, Gene Wisniewski, Ray Henry. Tell us about your musical career. How did it first start in polkas?
I was always practicing in my in my home in Niagara Falls. And I had a sun porch, and it was screened, and people used to hear me play a lot, practicing and playing along with the Dana records that I was listening to.
Oh.
78s. Of course, we didn't call them 78s because nothing else existed in those days except the 78s.
Sure.
And a neighbor across the alley who was an accordion player asked me if I'd want to join him and his brother and play as a trio in the neighborhood backroom bars and taverns when I was about 16 and a half, 17 years old.
Oh, okay.
And that's how that was the start of my professional career.
Do you remember the very first place that you played?
Chap's Grill on Cutterback Avenue in Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay. Isn't that also, there's a famous restaurant up
Polish
there.
Nook is across 24th Street on the opposite side.
Polish Nook, that's right. And they also run dances still today, as a matter of fact, which I understand.
Yeah, I understand that there's one going on right while we speak.
Yes, I believe it's with the New Direction Band, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Great group as well. Hey, Joe, so how many recordings did you do throughout your career?
Well, we cut 4 45s with Chet Zablocki in Toledo, Ohio, on his Musical label.
Okay.
And then afterwards, we cut 3 LPs.
Okay. And I believe I have 1 or 2 of those. Marisha is one of those, which has some really great tunes on it.
That was the first LP, and then we put out Tatush, and then on Dana Records we put out Polish Flowers.
Okay. So those were early on. Now tell us a little bit about how you got to hook up with Mr. Frank Wojnarowski.
Well, I was a groupie.
Is that right? I was gonna ask you, Joe, who did you idolize? But I think you've just answered my question.
When I found out that he was going to appear in the late 1940s at Holy Trinity Hall in Niagara Falls, New York, I begged my parents to take me to listen to him. And he was playing there.
Okay.
I was just so what I want to say, really loved the way he started out his Gudal polka with that slow beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a concerto type thing.
Yes.
And, that then became a trademark in quite a bit of his songs. Well, anyway, I must have been about 10, 11 years old when when my parents took me there. And that was the first time in my life that I heard a 10-piece orchestra live. And with those trumpets screaming, I mean, I just couldn't believe it, because up to that point in time, the only orchestras I ever heard where my parents took me to a wedding was a 3-piece group.
Sure.
I mean, I was just so stunned by that music. And after that, any chance that he appeared along with all the other Dana groups, like Gene Wisniewski and those that appeared at St. John Canny Lyceum in Buffalo, I'd be hanging out at those dances. But Frank was the guy that I really got hooked on, his style of music.
Wow.
With those blaring trumpets, so precise and so accurate, I was just amazed at their musicianship and how they were able to play what they do play.
Now, you had started your band not with 3 or 4 or 5 guys. You actually started with a 9-piece band, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep.
And
yep, it was 1954.
1954. So that's 4 years before I was born, Joe.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
We had an engagement. Before that happened, I was asked to play with a rehearsal band in Buffalo by the name, under the direction of Freddie May, an outstanding accordionist.
Okay.
And he put together a 9-piece group. And he actually, his arrangements were so much like Gene Wisniewski's orchestra, the Harmony Bells.
Is that right?
And I was, I was captivated by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to book a job with the group in December of 1954. But somehow Freddie broke up the group. I think it was in September or October 54. Oh. And here I was stuck with a band date without a band.
Oh, jeez.
And one of the guys in this rehearsal group said, "We'll get together with some other groups, some other musicians that I know, and we'll see what we can do." Well, it happened to be that the Kubeta boys, Len Kubeta, and his cousin Jack Burek lived on Walden. That was Art Kubeta's brother and cousin.
I was going to ask if he was related to Art.
Yeah. And they got together a group. Donnie Zach was on drums with our group.
Okay.
Gino Kurgel was on bass.
Okay.
And we just put the group together, and we quickly tried to get together some arrangements to try and sound, decent, professional with some harmony and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to play that gig in Niagara Falls that I originally booked with Freddie May's group. And that was the genesis of our group.
Wow. That is truly an amazing story. Now, tell us a little bit about your background with your folks. Your father came to the States. Your father was an immigrant, correct? And came to... Oh, he was not.
No. This is a unique situation. He was born in Niagara Falls, New York.
Oh.
In 1907.
Okay.
When he was 9 months old, his parents went back to Poland as an infant.
Oh, okay.
So then he came back to the United States when he was 17 by himself, and he came to live with his mother's brother, who happened to live in Niagara Falls.
Oh, all right.
So he was actually a United States citizen because he was born in the United States.
Oh, okay. All right.
But he was brought up in Poland.
All right.
So, actually his early life was that of being Polish in Poland.
Gotcha.
So that's the story about my father.
Now, and how about...
he was quite a guy as far as influencing me with music. Not that he tried to play a violin. He wouldn't know a note from dirt on a piece of paper. He just played by ear.
Oh, is that right?
And and a lot of the songs that I've recorded were some of the stanzas of music that he used to sing. He used to make up songs along with my godfather, who was his buddy from the same village in Poland. And they used to get together on weekends, and they used to just sing along after they had a few drinks. And in many cases, my mother had to quickly grab a notepad because she never heard some of the words that they were singing, so she could capture the words. And that was kind of my home life while I lived with my parents until the time I went to high school.
I'll be doggone. Now, Dad had lived in Rzeszów. Am I correct?
Outside of Rzeszów.
And what was the little town?
The village was called Świlcza. It was just west of Rzeszów.
Okay.
Rzeszów was the big city,
Right.
and Świlcza was the neighboring village.
So you basically cut your teeth on polka music thanks to Dad, it sounds like.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I was, that's all I ever heard.
And also, you had mentioned Klubera, and
Yeah.
Also, was it Gabruk? Am I pronouncing the Jack?
Jack Burek, yeah.
Burek, okay. Now,
Yeah, he was Lenny's cousin,
okay.
Lenny Kubera's cousin.
Now,
His mother and Art were brother and sister.
Now, I had mentioned a gentleman by the name of Rich Sadowski, who I met through Big Steve and the Bel Airs. Dale Voidilla actually introduced me to Rich at the Portage Post, and oddly enough, you were there as well that same night back in 1984, I believe. It was either 84 or 85. And we got to talking, and he was just a phenomenal trumpet player. Now, he played for your band for how long, Richie?
Oh, boy. Outside of maybe the first 6 years from that point on. So from 1954 till, what would be, 1958, 59.
Okay.
Richard was my right arm.
Oh, is that right? Yeah,
man.
What a great guy. We just lost him a couple of years back, did we not?
And it's a little longer than that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's been a little longer than that. Yeah, we just lost the other one, Len Arendt, maybe about 3-4 years ago. He was the second trumpet player.
Second trumpet, okay. I remember hearing something about that as well. And
Danny Arendt, his brother, played bass after Gino left Kudrow.
Okay.
To form his own group. And Danny's still alive. He's one of the survivors. Lenny Kubera's still alive. Myself. And Christine Katowski, the vocalist, is still alive.
I was going to ask you about her. She had a beautiful voice. We played a song. I don't know if you got a chance to hear it earlier, but we played a song featuring her on the vocal, and what a phenomenal vocalist. Now, did she play an instrument as well, Joe, or did she just get up there and belt out some tunes?
No, she was strictly a vocalist.
Okay.
But I understand that she had some basic piano training.
Okay.
But she also was a member of the Paderewski Singing Society, so she was, she was under the tutelage of the director. Michael Swaminski was his name, so I'm sure a lot of her ability developed being part of the singing society.
Gotcha. Now, also, how did you folks hook up? I mean, did she hear the band and say, "Hey, I'd like to come and sing some songs with you guys," or did you hear her?
No. They appeared on the Pickle Polka show, the Paderewski Singing Society.
All right.
And apparently, Frank approached her after the show, as far as I know.
Okay.
About considering to come back and sing.
All right.
As a vocalist.
Well, back in the 1950s, when the polka TV shows were starting to grow, you were tapped on the shoulder by a local NBC affiliate, WGR, which, of course, everybody knows now as WGRZ-TV. That was back in 1961, and that's how Pick a Polka actually started. Tell us in detail what that was like to actually perform on TV back in the 60s.
Well, it was a big thrill.
Oh, sure. Sure, it had to be.
It was a big thrill. And especially hooked up with Frank. I mean, the reason there was they wanted to make sure that the show was a success, and the marketing department investigated to see who was considered a big name in the polka field.
Mm-hmm.
And they contacted Frank after they found out that Frank Wojnarowski was someone who was quite prominent.
Yes.
So now Frank was approached. Frank immediately thought that his group would be playing on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Little did he know that the union wouldn't allow outside musicians to play.
Oh, okay. All right.
On TV. So over the course of the years when we became, acquainted with each other, and actually more than acquainted, because during that interim period from the time that I was 10 years old until that time, I was at all his dances, even out-of-town dances, and I used to hang out at the hotels, and I used to copy some of the music from his arranger, stuff like that. So, we became quite close. So then that's when he approached me after he had already heard our band at a rehearsal one time when he was playing at St. John Candy's. He stopped over at Dompolsky where we were rehearsing, so he knew already the kind of band we had. So when this TV show offer came up, and he found out that he could not use his own orchestra, he asked me if I'd be interested. And of course, I don't know what I said, but it would have been something like, "Is the Pope Catholic?"
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to think about that, Frank, for a little bit. Why don't I get back to you? Now, you also had some great talent on the shows with you. Gene Wisniewski, Marion Lush, Little Wally.
Yep.
Here's somebody that really I had always wanted to see, but I never had the opportunity, the Connecticut Twins.
Yeah, the Twins.
They performed.
Well, the story on the Twins is interesting, too. My drummer, Eddie Zasowski, Eddie Zak,
okay,
he had formed a group called the Modern Polka Society, along with a couple of his buddies. They were the ones that first contacted the Connecticut Twins to come to Buffalo to play at Dompolsky.
Really?
They signed them up to an exclusive contract. Only they had sole calling on them coming to Buffalo. No other promoter could touch them in Buffalo. Whereas Ziggy Javitsky, who used to bring in Wojnarowski, Joe Rock, Ray Henry, Wisniewski, all these other bands, he was cut out of this thing. It was my drummer that brought the Twins into town. So every time the Twins came in town, it was under their auspices of the Modern Polka Society.
Interesting. Very interesting. You also had greats like, of course, Walter Ostanek from Canada, Canada's Polka King.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Frankie Yankovic.
Wally Mack played with us.
Wesoły Stash. I can't believe that. Wesoły Stash actually appeared.
Yeah. You said Little Wally, right?
Oh, I sure did. Little Wally, Marion Lush, and also Marisha Data.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
Oh, tell us a little bit about that.
I first met her back in 1957 when we played in Toledo, Ohio, and we backed her up. And she signed a huge poster that was across the hall, hanging from the ceiling. After the gig was over, we took it down, and she autographed it, saying that we were the best orchestra that ever backed her up at that time.
Oh wow, that had to
still have it.
That had to have meant something.
I still have it in my possession.
Do you really? That had to have just put you on cloud nine, Joe.
You better believe it, especially at that time. I was only 21 years old.
Wow.
When we started playing, out of town. This was in Toledo, Ohio.
Talk about accomplishments. And, of course, Cleveland, Ohio's very own Ray Bajiewicz.
Yep.
Was another one.
Yeah, well, that was in Cleveland, but this was Toledo where we played.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Interesting that you played that waltz early, just before our connection here.
Yes.
You Were Mine was the name of the waltz.
Okay.
That was a waltz that I wrote after my mother died, when she died at the young age of 38.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I was the only and I was the only son. I mean, you know, I had no brothers or sisters.
Okay.
And that left me and my father. So the words that I put together were sort of, you know, telling the story about us, about our life with her, and then the fact that she was gone. Now, what I'm driving at is another big thrill in my life highlight was when Marion Lush called and asked permission to record that song under his name.
Really?
He called it Why Oh Why Waltz. He changed the name. Why, I don't know, but he gave me credit underneath the title that I was the author of the song.
Oh, that is amazing! Wow, what a tribute to Mom, Joe.
Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear you play that today. It just it's kind of ironic because she died in February.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, God rest her soul.
Yep.
And you said she passed at age 38. That's too young, way too young.
Yeah, well.
You know, the Pick a Polka show went on for how long?
About 3.5 years, I think.
So that was probably one of the longest running shows in Buffalo, as far as a Buffalo music TV show.
As far as a musical show, yeah.
Yeah.
It was. The only reason that we were terminated, or the show terminated, against the wishes of the sponsors, especially Mr. Wardinsky from Wardinsky Sausage Company and Potts Furniture at the time, was because WGR was sold by the original owners, Transcontinental Television, to the Taft Broadcasting Company from Ohio. And they bought several of their assets. I think was a TV station in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and somewhere else.
Okay.
And I guess they had a cash flow problem after they bought it. I guess they found themselves, you know, knee deep in debt. And so they just cut out all live programming.
Gotcha. Now, also, let's talk about another gentleman that I knew very well, Mr. Bud Hidensky, who had the Corsairs back in Pennsylvania. Because, see, I'm a transplant. I'm originally from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, down around the Pittsburgh area, southwestern Pennsylvania. Right. And I moved up here, like I said, in 83. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Coriopolis, PA. So you got a chance. Go ahead.
When my career was sort of waning, Bud called me and asked me if I would sit in a few times and vocalize with him as well. So I played with him in Punxsutawney several times and other places, and of course when he came to Chickamauga, each time he would ask me to come over.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Western New York has, you've done a great deal of things. What other locations have you played, Joe? You've traveled a good bit over your the course of years.
Yeah. You know, because of TV, because Pick a Polka, Canada was so welcoming to us. I mean, we played in Toronto, in Oshawa. We played in Hamilton. We played in Brantford. We played in, I'm trying to think, Kitchener. We played in Welland, St. Catharines. I mean, these people just welcomed us everywhere we went.
Well, what a great sound too. I mean, it's not like a 4 or 5 piece band like you said that. You know, people are just playing a whole bunch of songs. You had a lot of originals. You had a lot of great backing with the music, with the musicians throughout the years. Now, how many?
And
go ahead.
What I loved about playing in Canada, you know, they had the house band rule, where you had to hire a house band along with an imported band.
Oh.
So Joe Jędraski used to be our house band.
All right.
And man, I loved his music. I mean, he was a trumpet player, and their stuff was wild too. Jerry Jędraski, his brother, arranged most of that stuff. And I mean, it was just so exciting Yeah, we were featured, but Joe was also on the stage when we would take our breaks. We would break, hour off, hour on. And we, probably the most wonderful place we played at over there in Toronto was at the Palais Royal Ballroom on the shores of Lake Ontario.
Oh, that had to have been
I
beautiful.
mean, you talk about classy place and the crowds and the atmosphere. It was just amazing.
Wow. Joe, you were also a 5-term president of the Western New York Division of the Polish American Congress, and also a former treasurer and membership chair as well.
Yeah. I dabbled in a few of the Polonia things because, my Polish heritage meant a lot to me.
Well, and that's great, and that you kept everything alive here in Western New York, which was amazing. Now, you also used to work for a company that I'm pretty familiar with, Praxair, formerly Union Carbide Corp., Lindy division.
Yeah, Lindy, yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
and how long did you...
33 years.
33 years. I was just going to ask, how long were you there? Holy smokes.
Have we got time for a story yet?
You know what? I would love to do that. And as long as it's okay with you, Joe, it is definitely okay with me. So, yes, please.
Well, because you brought this up about Lindy.
Yeah.
I was working there when Pick a Polka came on the air.
Okay.
And I was a lab technician at the time. And one day, I have no idea, I can't remember how long the show was on the air. My supervisor asked for me to come into his office.
Okay.
So I walked into the office and he said, I saw you on television yesterday. And I said, oh. Is it this or that?
Uh-huh.
I really had my heart pounding. I really was a little bit frightened.
Oh.
That I was going to get an ultimatum,
Oh, okay.
Is this your job or is that your job?
Oh.
I mean, that's what went through my head.
Sure. Interesting concept, too.
And then he said, but they pronounced your name different. And I said, well, they pronounced it in a Polish way, Macielag. Up to that point in time, outside of the Polish community, my name was Macielag.
Oh, really?
Or Macielag.
That I never knew. Macielag.
Because it was the most common way that I've heard my name pronounced by people who were not Polish.
Sure.
So I just accepted that, except with the Polish community. Well, anyway, I said, well, yeah, it's, as I said, it's Polish, and it's pronounced Macielag. He said, I think your father would like to hear his name pronounced properly. I said, wow, to myself. He took me by the arm and walked me back into the laboratory, and everybody was looking at him as he was walking in with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I want you to meet somebody. And everybody's scratching their head.
Because they already knew you.
Who? Where is he? He says, I want you to meet Joe Macielag. From that point on, I never changed my name.
Wow.
The pronunciation.
Oh,
he was
that's
Jewish.
An amazing story.
He was Jewish, and he brought that home to me.
Wow. Boy, that had to have meant the world to you, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really did. Hey, let me ask you a couple more questions, if I may. Do you have a most memorable gig that you played with your orchestra, with the Melody Bells? Something that really stands out You know, it may have
Well-
been the largest crowd that you performed for, or
St. John Candy Church had a fire that did a lot of damage in a church.
okay,
And they then transferred church services over to the Lyceum. So the Lyceum was no longer available to play any gigs. Once the church was refurbished and restored, they had a celebration, a huge dinner and, you know, the whole thing. They hired us to play for that dance, that celebration dance, when they reopened the Lyceum. We had 1,200 people.
oh wow,
I'm sure it broke probably the fire code or whatever. I mean, it was just jammed wall to wall.
what a
And
story!
And the only other one that I could say is quite similar as far as in my mind of being special was what I had mentioned previously about playing at the Palais Royal Ballroom in Canada, in Toronto,
Mhm.
Especially with the Joe Yandrowski band. I mean, to me, that was a highlight because it drew big crowds, but the atmosphere was, you know, beyond beautiful, with the doors open and the lake right out there. It was just spectacular.
Fantastic stories, Joe. Wow. I can't believe that. Hey, I also like to ask, I don't know if you've heard very many of our interviews, but I also like to ask the musicians or the band leaders, do you have a favorite breakdown story where you guys were heading to a gig and something happened where you guys broke down, you were on the side of the road or anything like that? Do you have anything memorable? Do you have anything memorable that you can share, one or two stories?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to hear it, and I'm sure our listeners would too.
Well, there's one. We were on our way to Elmira, and we were traveling in 2 cars or 3 cars, I can't remember. And someplace, I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was midway. But this was already, Saturday, late afternoon, early evening.
Okay.
And the guy's crankshaft let go
Oh.
on his car. Oh, what do we do?
I was just going to ask that same thing. What did you guys do? Were you able to make it to the gig?
Yeah, but we were a little late, and the car was pushed over to a gas station where the guy said he would work on it, and we packed as much of the stuff together and sat on each other's lap going down.
Is that right?
The other one was we were playing, twice now. We played in Erie, Pennsylvania. The one time, just as we were approaching the Pennsylvania border toll thing,
Mm-hmm.
Danny Aaron, who was our bass player, his car, he hit something, a stone or whatever. It punctured his gas tank. He had just enough gas in the tank left to get us to the hall.
Wow.
His father was a collision man. He called his father. His father, while we were playing the gig, drove all the way to Erie, Pennsylvania, crawled under the car, and gummed it up with some kind of gook or whatever they have to seal that hole so that we could push him to a gas station and get gas.
Oh, amazing stories.
Well, I mean, you talk about a father doing something for his son.
Oh, yeah.
And the other time was when it was, I think it was around Halloween time. We were asked to play in Erie, Pennsylvania. And it was one of those times when we were on the thruway, and all of a sudden, Blake's snowstorm came over.
Oh.
And it was like a blizzard conditions. By the time we got to the gig, we were at least an hour and a half late.
Oh.
and people stuck around, but it didn't taste good in the mouths of the people that were there.
Well,
But it was
I'm
beyond
sure
our
that
control.
I'm sure that they understood that too. And
Well,
yeah,
we were
you're
never
right.
called back.
Well, yeah, but again, you can't really look at a snowstorm and say, okay,
No.
well,
on the way back, we had to line up near the thruway until the state troopers told us we could go. One state trooper led, and there were state troopers behind this whole caravan of cars until they had plowed the thruway enough for the cars to travel single lane back towards Buffalo.
oh, interesting.
But Buffalo had nothing when we got here.
Interesting.
No snow.
Yeah. Well, that's
So I would
that's
say-
the craziness about the snowstorms in Western New York.
So those were two exciting times.
Now, Joe, and again, I thank you so very, very much for taking the time out of your busy Sunday to spend some time with us here on Polkas After Dark. But I do want to ask you one more question. What would Joe Macielag say to someone that just wants to get into music for the very first time, whether they wanted to be a singer, whether they wanted to be a musician, and it could be any genre of music whatsoever? What would Joe Macielag say to this individual?
Practice and don't give up. And connect, network.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I mean, that's how I got to know Frank.
Sure. You know, it's amazing because you hear of a lot of stories of musicians that get a chance to play for the greats, to go up and sit in for like Gene Wisniewski, Frank Wojnarowski. And it was just the opposite. They came to you, which is just a phenomenal story in itself, Joe.
Well, the circumstances were right.
Yeah. And you were blessed, too, that's for sure.
Oh, no question.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
Most
question.
definitely.
I thank God for the life that I led.
Yeah.
I mean, I never dreamed that I would achieve what I have achieved.
Yeah.
God has been good to me.
Yeah. Amen to that.
And I heard that Ed Gutsa is one of your listeners there, so I just want to say hello to Eddie and his wife, Wanda. She just celebrated her birthday not too long ago.
Yes, she did. And we have a lot of Canadian folks that listen to us, have supported us. Jerry, my girlfriend, and I, we decided to do this starting way back in 2020 when the first bout of the COVID came around. I think it was in a little after March. It was just before Dingus Day. And we said, boy, nobody's going to be able to go out. What do we want to do? So we decided to just go onto Facebook. And we did, back then, just showed some pictures, thanks to Mr. Les Kapuscinski up in Canada, which he supplies us with our photography, our photographs that we use for all of our interviews. And we thank him so much and his wife, Alice. But, it's kind of funny that everything evolved around this COVID thing for at least Jerry and I, and we've been doing it ever since, and we really enjoy doing it. We do take a Saturday or a Sunday off occasionally to go out and visit some friends or family, but I think now with everything starting to come to a head and eliminating the masks and everything, hopefully, the Lord willing, we are going to get back into some type of normalcy again and be able to go around and talk to our friends and neighbors and go to dances and so on and so forth.
And cross the bridges to Canada.
Yeah, amen to that, brother. Amen to that. We'd love to see that happening real soon. Well, Joe, thank you so very, very much. God bless you. We can't thank you enough for taking time to spend some time with us, but we've got a song that we are going to do right now, and it is called the Marysia Polka. And guess who's playing it? Yep, it's your band. Joe, thanks again.
It was our biggie.
Joe, thanks again. God bless you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
sobie lata koło domu wrona, ach moja Marysia zasmucona. Nie smuć się, Marysiu, będzie nam wesoło, bo drogich przyjaciół masz wokoło.
Marysiu, nie smuć się, bo Janeczek kocha cię. Marysia płakała i rozkoszy szukała. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę na czas, droga, będę na czas. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę, Marysiu, na czas. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę na czas, droga, będę na czas. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę, Marysiu, na czas.
Lata sobie lata koło domu wrona, ach moja Marysia zasmucona. Nie smuć się, Marysiu, będzie nam wesoło, bo drogich przyjaciół masz wokoło.
Marysiu, nie smuć się, bo Janeczek kocha cię. Marysia płakała i rozkoszy szukała. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę na czas, droga, będę na czas. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę, Marysiu, na czas. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę na czas, droga, będę na czas. Zapukaj, zapukaj, zapukaj raz, będę, Marysiu, na czas.
Hey, a big one for Joe Macielag. And Joe, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for spending time with us this evening on Polkas After Dark on our broadcast link.
With a C?
.com. Yeah, you missed a good interview, but I'm sure we're going to be
We
tuning
always
it
listen to them afterwards.
in. But what a great guy.
I am hearing that.
And what a fantastic life he has led. And just, it's amazing. It really is.
Mary Lou said that what an amazing person. Such a refreshing personality. Loved his stories about his family. God's blessing on him. That's a very, very wonderful statement there, Mary Lou.
Hey, you know, and here is a gentleman that he kind of favored and loved working with. Here's a tune by Frank Wojnarowski, one called the Raindrop Polka.
Raindrops, raindrops falling on my window pane. Raindrops, raindrops falling at my door. Teardrops, teardrops falling from my heart of pain. Teardrops, teardrops falling on the floor. Looking out the window, watching raindrops fall. Waiting for my lover, waiting for his call. Counting all the raindrops, counting all the tears. Since he went away, the day seems just like years. Raindrops, raindrops falling on my window pane. Teardrops, teardrops falling on the floor. Raindrops, raindrops falling on my window pane. Raindrops, raindrops falling at my door. Teardrops, teardrops falling from my heart of pain. teardrops falling on the floor. Since my lover left me, gloominess appeared. Clouds began to gather, sunshine disappeared. Rains began to fall and tears began to flow. Will he ever know how much I love him so? Raindrops, raindrops falling down my window pane. Teardrops, teardrops falling on the floor.
How about a little bit of Bill Cerniak? Here's one called Topsy Turvy. Yeah, the late Bill Cerniak, one called Topsy Turvy Polka.
Drive safe, Mary Lou.
Yeah, she's
Tell
going
Jill
to go
we said
pick
hey.
up Jill. So we are going to hopefully get a chance to see Jill in the upcoming weeks.
Soon.
and
We're definitely going to
months.
see her in August.
Oh yeah, well that's a given.
And we're going to her dance.
Yeah, yes we are. Hey folks, how about a tune for all the Pennsylvania folks? Tommy Hoke's still listening. We're going to also send it out to Steve Grumala down in Dunkirk. And let's see. How about, the Mattises, the Morrises? Gosh, everybody down there. Big fans. Also, Mike and Tammy Soich. Here's one by the Trolltones. They love singing this one.
Wczoraj się do kiedy mówi nie
sister, mother Katie now. Katie movies is vami. Joe, I no more speak to you. I just lose touch to vami. I never more come to you.
Andy Fennis and the Trolltones playing some good polka music right here on a Polkas After Dark, the Sunday afternoon edition. Once again, we want to thank Mr. Joe Macielag for allowing us to spend some time with him this Sunday afternoon, early evening, for a beautiful interview. Once again, we can't thank Joe enough. Hey, and we also want to remind you guys that there's going to be some more great interviews coming up in the not too distant future. What I'd like to do is maybe give a rundown real quick of some folks that we're going to be interviewing. Starting next week, we're going to be talking live with Dennis Motika from Chicago, Illinois. That's the Good Times Band. Dennis joins us. That's February the 27th. Then on March the 6th, guess who's coming to dinner? Well, it's going to be Mark Jansen from Frankenmuth, Michigan. He's going to be talking all about the Summer Music Fest and, of course, the band, the Brass Express, that he performed with for many years. Then on March the 13th, it's Whitey Rignetz. Whitey Rignetz from Chicago, Illinois, of course, played with the Dynatones, started out with the Dynatones, and ended up playing with Marion Lush and the White Eagles. He's played with Tony Blazonczyk and New Phase, just a lot of great bands. And then on March the 20th, we got his partner in crime, Michael Stupinski. That's Mike Stupinski from Chicago, Illinois, has played with Marion Lush. Marion Lush, the White Eagles. He's currently playing jobs with Lenny Gomulka's Chicago Push, but we know Mikey from way back in Pennsylvania. On the 27th, we have that open. That's going to be determined, but we do want you to know that we have a powerhouse weekend lined up. And there's going to be a special time for the interviews that weekend, because Saturday evening, Didi Yashevich Ogrodny is going to be joining us from Nashville, Tennessee live. She performed a lot with Henny and the Versajays, and that's going to be on April the 2nd. That is a Saturday evening, a very special time. We'll let you guys know as we get closer. And then on Sunday afternoon, we have the world-famous Jan Levon from West Palm Beach, Florida. The Jan Levon Orchestra, that comes up on April the 3rd. So Saturday and a Sunday, that's a powerhouse weekend for us. And we do thank you guys so much for tuning us in here to Polkas After Dark each and every weekend. We're heard on Facebook Live, seen on Facebook Live. We're also on our broadcast link with a C.com. And where else can they join us?
Facebook.
How about, I just said Facebook. How about YouTube?
I wasn't listening. I was reading.
Okay, that's good.
Actually, I was trying to check out all these videos on our control room.
Yes.
And I can't figure out a lot of them, so I was concentrating really hard.
Hey, Dingus Day weekend comes up April the 17th, and that's going to be determined on that Sunday who we're going to be interviewing. That will be, of course, Easter Sunday, the pre-Dingus Day. And then on April the 24th, we get to chat with Johnny Karash. Johnny Karas, as a lot of people call him here, but Johnny Karash from Buffalo, New York originally, and he played with the G-Notes and, of course, the Jimmy Sturr Orchestra. So we've got a lot of great people still coming up for interviews. If there's somebody special that you'd like us to interview, please make sure that you let us know, because we'd be more than happy to reach out to them. We've been in contact with a couple more folks, and it looks like it's going to be happening in the month of April. So we can't wait for that. Let's go ahead and bring up a song by Dennis Motika and the Good Times. Here's one called One More Time Polka.
Make plans now to attend the 54th Annual International Polka Association's Convention and Festival, Labor Day weekend, September 2nd through the 4th, at the Pittsburgh Cranberry Hilton Doubletree Hotel in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. Enjoy 3 fun-filled days, including a welcome party, the prestigious Hall of Fame and Music Awards banquet, pool parties, election of officers and directors, performances by Hall of Famers, and polka entertainment featuring some of the nation's top polka bands, featuring Lenny Gomulka and Chicago Push, the Dynabrass, the Buffalo Concertina All-Stars, the Jack Taddy Band, the IPA Tribute Band, Michael Costa and the Beat, Klansnick and Friends, John Gura and Gurale, the Polka Country Musicians, New Generation, 7, the Boys, Cosmics, and the New Tone. Get all the details on room reservations and more by visiting the IPA online on Facebook and at IPAPolkas.com. Don't miss the 54th Annual International Polka Association's Convention and Festival, Labor Day weekend, September 2nd through the 4th, at the Pittsburgh Cranberry Hilton Doubletree Hotel in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. Get all the details at IPAPolkas.com. Labor Day weekend brings another annual IPA convention and festival, and Thursday, September 1st is the kickoff of the big weekend with Western Pennsylvania's hottest polka band, the Mon Valley Push. 7 p.m. at the Cranberry Elks Lodge, Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. A cash bar will be available for your favorite beverages, so no BYOB. For tickets, table reservations, and details, contact Chris Bogdan at 412-260-9725. That's 412-260-9725, or email Chris at bogdanfamily.com. That's Chris at BOGDON family.com. Don't miss the 54th Annual IPA Convention Kickoff Party with the Mon Valley Push. 7 p.m. on Thursday, September the 1st at the Cranberry Elks Lodge, 20720 Route 19, Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. For tickets, table reservations, and details, contact Chris Bogdan at 412-260-9725.
Holy Toledo! Announcing the 2022 Holy Toledo Polka Days. Starting Thursday, April 7th, 2022 with the Holy Toledo Jam Band from 8 to 11. Then on Friday afternoon, April 8th, it's another Jam and Polka Party with me, Kenny Olowin, at the Tin Can Bar Toledo from 2 until 5 with free admission. Then it's on to the Mosaic Ballroom, Renaissance Toledo Downtown Hotel for the award-winning Dynabrash.
Every time the party starts, boys head to the bar.
Energy and Lenny Gamolka and Chicago Push. On Saturday, April 9th, John Gura and the Gurales, the polka country musician, Michael Costa and the Beat, and the Dynabrass. And the fun doesn't stop as Michael Costa and the Beat take to the stage once again on Sunday from 1 till 5. Sponsored by the Toledo Area Polka Society. Holy Toledo Polka Days, April 7th through the 10th. For more information, log on to Holy Toledo Polka Days or email Joe Z at holytoledopolkadays.com. Holy Toledo. Holy Toledo. Holy Toledo.
Nastrovia! Hey, follow me to the party. Follow me to the fun.
Yeah, so many great things coming up here over the next couple of weeks
That
and
is so
months.
nice to hear.
And we can't wait to get out there and start pressing the flesh and saying hello to people and just what? That's what we
Pressing
refer.
the flesh.
That's what we refer to as shaking hands in the
okay.
business
I
world.
have never in my life
Pressing
heard
the
that.
flesh. Well, somebody needs to bail me out here. Why doesn't
Never
somebody
heard
do
it.
that?
Yep.
Hey, this one is for Georgianne. We know this is one of her favorite songs, one of her favorite bands. Here's one called The Bride and Groom, Eddie Sr. and Jr. on the vocals right here on Polkas After Dark, the Sunday evening edition.
Imię Ojca i Syna i Ducha Świętego, przyjmijcie nas młodzi do serca swojego. Śpiewać, by tu śpiewać, nie wiem to co śpiewać, Boga nie obrazić, ludzi nie pogniewać. Dwa serca związane z tą rzeczką zieloną, Jóżeż ty Marysiu, jaśniową żoneczką. Dwa serca związane, klucz do nieba święty, nikt was nie rozłączy, tylko sam Bóg święty. Obejrzy się Mary na nasz polski kościół, boś tam zostawiła swój wianek wiecznością. Obejrzy się Mary na te polskie zwiony, boś tam zostawiła swój wianek niepchody. Obejrzy się Mary na te polskie zwierząt, wciąż tu nasz tam młodych swój wianeczek wiedzą. Wiedzą oni wiedzą i nie mogą przywieźć, boś ty go musiała na swej głowce przynieść. Nie płacz Maryś, nie płacz, wianeczka nie żałuj, rzuć wianek pod ławę i ja pocałuj. A ty nasz jadówno, powolno, tak prędko wianeczka ścierać ci nie wolno. Powoli wybieraj wieczki ojczyste, żebyś nie stargała łosyczki złociste. Powoli wybieraj i układaj wszędzie, żeby po wianeczku szafki były wszędzie. Książeczki, szpileczki, zobacz na syneczki, bo ci się przydadzą dla mojej córeczki. A ty, panie młody, zobacz twoja igraszka, bo ci się przydadzą dla tego syneczka. Nasza pani młoda, dziecko smakołowa, 8 za temu nie zawracaj głowa. A ty, panie młody, zafunduj nam wina, niech żyje nam 100 lat, a nasza rodzina.
Oh yeah, the late Eddie B. Sr. along with son Jr. Eddie Blazonczyk Jr., what a fantastic vocalist. Both of those guys, actually.
Both of them?
Both of them. All three, both of them. Yes, sirree. Hey, if you're just joining us, well, thanks so much. And, Jerry, why don't you just give a quick say hello to some people still in our chat room.
We have Alice Fischler, Chris Curtis, Chris Tansky, Gail Wojtovich, Les and Alice Kapushtinsky, and Marcia Moscato. We also have Scott Jandana, Vince Sosnowski, Audrey.
Audrey.
Okay.
I
was trying to read the other names. Mark Schwoger. They're over there on YouTube with me.
Yeah, I see
as
that.
well as Samia and Falom Tortone.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, folks.
Welcome.
YouTube is great when it comes to polka music. We love seeing you guys. And thank you so very, very much. Hey, we also want to make mention, we said there's going to be some great things happening over the next couple of weeks, couple of months. How about preparing yourself for New Year's Eve this year?
Hi, polka fans. Mike Costa here to tell you about an upcoming event you don't want to miss. Puko Yashu presents New Year's Eve Polka Extravaganza. 3 bands, 2 nights, all at one fantastic location, which is the Embassy Suites at Independence, Ohio. Saturday night, New Year's Eve, dinner dance. Music by polka country musicians and The Beat. Dinner starts at 5:30 with dancing from 7 to 1 a.m. Sunday, New Year's Day, featuring the music of Polka Family and The Beat. Music from 2 to 8 p.m. A 2-day package price is only $140 per person, or $125 for just New Year's Eve and $25 for New Year's Day. Embassy Suite room rates for the weekend start at $119 per night. For all the amazing extras, details, and reservations, please see the flyer at Mike Pikowski's or Jeff Yash's Facebook page. Or you can call Mike at 908-209-9843 or Jeff Yash at 518-281-1587. Folks, this is the New Year's Eve event you have been waiting for. You don't want to miss it. Deadline to reserve is October 15th.
Hey, how about a little bit more of The Beat? Here's one off of that recording, their latest, The Reason. Here's one titled The Reason. Here's Mike Costa and The Beat as we consider them version 3.0.
Somewhere lost in time, how it all began, a word to touch your hand, reasons I am here with you, believe in everything we do, my beating heart belongs to you, I would walk for miles till I found you, reasons for the day, awake to work and play, time we spent alone, reasons still unknown, postcards that I sent to you, did you read, did they go through? Everything
Hey, how about a little bit of Kick in the Brass? We're going to be talking next week with Dennis Motika from the Good Times Band, and oddly enough, that's who this is. Don't forget to join us next week, Saturday, too, folks.
After we play this polka, we hope that you will soon add it to your list of all-time favorite polka tunes. The melody is quite simple, with a beat that's not too fast. And when we stop our singing, we will kick in the brass, kick in the brass, kick in the brass. We get our kicks with a polka fix. Let's kick in the brass, kick in the brass, kick in the brass. We get our kicks with a polka fix. Let's kick in the brass.
Hey, we're going to say hello to Mr. Walter Potok, also for Ron Punska. And let's see here, we got a lot of great people here on our Facebook feed, as well as our YouTube and our broadcast link. Say hello to Brother Dan.
Let's put your hands together if you like, just sing along. Now when we play this polka and you hear the trumpets blast, we know you're gonna like it, or we'll kick you in the brass, kick in the brass. We get our kicks with a polka fix. Let's kick in the brass, kick in the brass, kick in the brass. We get our kicks with a polka fix. Let's kick in the brass, kick in the brass, kick in the brass, kick in the brass, kick in the brass.
How about going up north once again? Here is Mr. John Guran Gurale. It's the number one tune off the recording. It's also number one from the USPA and IPA.
Pan Twardowski z góry woła poprzez chmury: brawo, balu bis. I zaśpiewał wali z księżycowej dali Walentyna tłysz. Walentyna, o Walentyna, już gwiazd kraina ją dobrze zna. Były kwiaty dla Gagarina, a Walentyna tłystra ma. Walentyna, o Walentyna, to pierwsza w świecie podniebna myśl. Jej imieniem więc się zaczyna najnowszy Walentyna płyn.
Hey, for Don and Marina Kozak out there in NT. Welcome, folks, and thanks for joining us here on Polkas After Dark, our broadcast link
with a C.
.com.
Może księżyc stary znajdzie dwie gitary, przyślę tobie list, żebyś przyleciała, żebyś zaśpiewała Walentyna tłysz. Walentyna, o Walentyna, już gwiazd kraina ją dobrze zna. Były kwiaty dla Gagarina, a Walentyna tłystra ma. Walentyna, o Walentyna, to pierwsza w świecie podniebna myśl.
is Chris Tansky, front and center. Here's a little bit of TBC for you, one called Big Brown Eyes Polka. Once again, don't forget to join us next week, Saturday, right here, Polkas After Dark, our broadcast link, Facebook Live and YouTube.
With big brown eyes that say so much. You don't have to speak, you don't even have to touch. And when you try to tell me something that no words can say, those big brown eyes of yours can give your heart away. Those big brown eyes of yours can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Things I should have known, things that I know all along. So when you tell me that you love me, you don't have to say. Those big brown eyes of yours can give your heart away. I've never met a girl with big brown eyes that say so much. You don't have to speak, you don't even have to touch. And when you try to tell me something that no words can say, those big brown eyes of yours can give your heart away. Those big brown eyes of yours can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Things I should have known, things that I know all along. So when you tell me that you love me, you don't have to say. Those big brown eyes of yours can give your heart away.
How about a little bit of Walter Ostanek? Or Walter Ostanek, whichever you prefer.
You told me once you loved me. You told me you'd be true. But now you found another and left me sad and blue. But now you found another and left me sad and blue. My heart is aching, my heart is breaking, knowing that I must find someone new. My heart is aching, my heart is breaking, knowing that I must find someone new. Sad and blue, but now you found another and left me sad and blue. My heart is aching, my heart is breaking, knowing that I must find someone new. My heart is aching, my heart is breaking, knowing that I must find someone new.
Introducing Mr. Kevin Selecki on the accordion. Here's one called Barbara Polka. Here's Mr. Jackie Libera. Here's one called After 70 Years.
70 lat minęło, bez całych lat wszystko miło. Jeszcze powiem, co się stało, tak na świecie zdarzeń mało. Wyjechałem z Ameryki, odwiedzić Paryżczyki, a żeby zobaczyć brata, co po Polsce jeszcze lata. Zamówiłem piękny pokój, żebym ja miał sobie spokój. Drzwi zamknąłem na dzwoneczek, bo nie jestem płakaneczek. Piękna panna, coś ich szuka, poddała mi gorzołeczki, a ja myślał, że różeczki. No i co zrobić, jestem taki, choć zamykam drzwi na zamknij. Panna młoda w okno puka, no i mnie starego szuka.
Hey folks, thanks ever so much for putting us on. If you've been listening in your car, thanks for the ride. Don't forget, we're going to see you this coming Saturday for another Polkas After Dark.
Stay safe. We love you.